Death cost rework, walk tokens in the Oddment shop, and magic being the potential most powerful combat style coming up next. Before we get into the news today, I would just like to ask that if you are not subscribed and you like this content, make sure you subscribe down below and like the video. Thank you. So the first topic of today comes in the form of reworking death costs. So Wazweir has asked the question in the Q&A chat with the Jagex team leads, is there any plans to rework death costs? And this is their response.
Was V3 asks, with how positive the feedback has been on free death weeks, are there any thoughts on reworking death costs to fit RuneScape as it stands today?
Yeah, the question's really well worded because I think we're under no illusions that the success of Combat Week has largely been around the fact that it's so satisfying to not have to worry about death, and obviously that's built on a problem, and the problem is that our death mechanics, the punishment for death, is quite steep. It's very steep. And that hits certain players. Like if you're a high level player, you're worried about bringing anything high level. If you're a low level player, it puts fear into doing any kind of bossing. So yeah, what has happened at the moment is that our combat council has pitched a design. They're prototyping things at the moment. That's really kind of bubbled up to have our attention. And we're in the process of, and it is a very early process, of just deciding what we do with that, whether or not that goes on the schedule. There are a few things to decide there. But certainly in the short term, we've got combat content coming, right? We've got things that would benefit from free death weeks and free death kind of periods. So we're absolutely looking to bring that in and apply that to Elder God Wars. So yeah, that will be coming.
So staying as objective and non-biased as I possibly can on this series, it's coming. With Elder God Wars 2, death changes are going to be coming in some form. Now, it kind of sounds like they may try to whittle this in as some sort of like combat week once again or something like that. I'm not sure if this means everlasting permanent changes or not, but only time will tell. But that is the confirmation that some people have been looking for as to whether or not Jagex is looking into death costs. The second piece of news that we have gotten this week comes courtesy of, I'm not even going to read this username, but it involves my thighs. Thank you very much. If you are looking to pay billions for Zombie Walk or Assassin Walk overrides, don't. They will be on the Oddment store soon. With a Twitch clip in the description announcing that they will soon be re-released on the Oddment store as of the Q&A stream. Honestly, this is something I think that's been a problem for a little bit, not necessarily a huge issue, but just one of those things where people with large amounts of money are hoarding lots of item tokens that exist within the games, more specifically the walk animations, because they're so highly sought after, raising them to ridiculous prices, way over max cash by multiples in the case of like the Zombie Walk override token. So if you're looking to pick one of these up, I would say don't wait on these, especially because right now they are crashing super hard and you don't want to waste that hard-earned GP. Now, the very last thing that's been generating quite a bit of buzz in the community is the comment that the mods made on magic potentially being shifted a little bit in terms of the combat triangle.
XXC Sopper is asking about, a common topic we hear in our community is, is magic too weak? Is range too strong? There's a lot of conversation about the combat triangle of the current balance. Anything you want to say there at all?
Sorry, it's a risk of being the day show. There are a couple of balancing models you can do for a game. You probably played lots of other games, you know how it's done. So you can artificially like push up certain combat styles or aspects of your combat meta, and you could keep them constantly trying to balance your plates, trying and doing that at all times. But I don't subscribe to that model. I think that the more exciting model really is to let it ebb and flow with the updates that you put in. So we've got Elder God Wars coming. We know that we have combat content coming, and we know full well that magic is sitting lower, for example, than a number of the other styles, and that gives us an opportunity to try pushing it up for a bit. Maybe that means that magic will become far superior for a period, and that's fine.
Now, this news, of course, sent the community into an absolute frenzy, buying up all of the magic gear that could be seen from miles away, specifically because of what you just heard. So I've got some prices up here on screen. You can see that all of the magic gear that I price checked here has risen substantially in the last week or so. This is in my opinion, I'm gonna separate myself from the news here a little bit. This right here is the worst time to buy into this hype. You're going to end up paying more for what is honestly a huge maybe. In my interpretation of what he just said, this is in no way, shape, or form a guarantee that Magic is going to become the best style whatsoever. He said the possibility is there. So what they're going to do is they're going to continue to release upgrades. They did say they would be looking at Magic and it would create some opportunities. But it's hard for me to envision a world where they just dump nothing but Magic upgrades on us, because quite honestly, I feel like just one upgrade is not going to cut it. I mean, unless they took the route of making a whole bunch of new spells and giving us a ton of new abilities to bring Magic up to the point where it could compete with something like range or melee, that doesn't seem feasible to me. I'm sure maybe we're gonna get a new weapon or a new ability codex or something like that out of God Wars Dungeon 3, and it's highly merited. Magic needs to be looked at a little bit because it's vastly weaker than the other two combat styles. But what I am suggesting to you here is don't go out and sell your entire bank to buy a staff of Sliske just yet, because the updates aren't here. They're not going to be here for a while, and in the interim, Magic is still the worst combat style that you can use in the high level game. That being said, basically what I interpreted this all as is we're going to release updates as we see fit. We're going to introduce magic gear, range gear, melee gear, and wherever the combat meta falls is where it falls. That's up to the players to decide what is the optimal use of all three of these styles. We're just going to continue to make updates as needed and let the combat triangle balance itself out. So the reason I wanted to include this here is because of the hype around it and people just liquidating absolutely everything that they have in order to buy this stuff. If you're part of the majority that is selling their magic gear, I definitely don't blame you. Prices are sky high right now. But I just wanted to include that little thought right there, just in case some people were considering chucking the whole bank at a Wand of the Appraisal and a Imperium Core or a Staff of Sliske or something like that. You're operating on a big maybe in this territory. This was by no means confirmation that Magic is going to get an insane buff, but it is something that they are aware of. But that'll do it for the news this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, leave a like down below and comment your thoughts on this episode. I'll see you all later. Goodbye. And I would like to say an absolutely massive thank you to all of my channel members showing up here on screen, especially members of the God and Barrows Died tier. That includes Alex, Shane, Salvo, Tyler, Argonaut, Gumi, TP, Eric Wade, Roscovian, Linux, Plain Pat, Mossy, V for Vodka, Jackie Johnson, Vibe City Vlogs, and Jay. And a massive shout out to the Barrows Died members, Talkat, Nicholas, Mystic, and Robin. Thank you all so much for your support. It means the absolute world to me. I love you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good day. Bye.